Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to ABC Podcast. This is your boy, Love Killer Trey. I'm kicking it in with my co-host. Co-host,
What
what is your name?
what's going on, everybody? This is Sabre. That's Sabre, not Saber. Get it right.
Definitely right. So we definitely got a few topics that we're gonna want to address this week as far as what's going on. I'm starting with I had actually seen a picture floating around on Facebook and Twitter of switches for sale. And I kind of just wanted to,
Yeah.
it brought back some horrifying memories because I definitely have been told to get my own Switch.
Oh
Um,
man.
yeah, definitely. And that was not a good look. My great grandmother did not play. Shout out to you, Mama dear, rest in heaven. So, as far as Switches are concerned, um, I'm not a father as of yet, but I'm thinking when I do become one, that's something that's definitely not going to go down. I think I was like tapped a few times with it, and I did not like it at all. What are your thoughts, Sabre, on switches?
Switch is bringing like a fear domain like none other, and it's a two-part fear because one, you have to pick the item that you're gonna get beat down with, right?
Oh
And then
yeah,
the other piece is you can hear that zipping noise through the air before it connects, and you just know it's bringing a whirlwind of pain. It's just whoosh, whoosh.
yeah.
And
Oh,
so you're really not prepared for it, and you're bracing. Like I think I've had an anxiety attack. My grandmother as well. My great grandmother, she was one that make you go get a switch off of the tree, and then picking the leaves and stuff. And I don't know, I'm always reminded. You remember the Jackson 5 movie, right? Back in the day,
hmm,
the ABC did a Jackson 5, and he had Michael and Marlon had to go get the switch off the tree, and he was like trying to fill it out, make sure
yes.
it's not too big, not too thin, right?
Oh
So
yeah. Hmm.
I'm always thinking about that. But to be honest, you know, I think discipline and the way our parents and grandparents chose to discipline us, I wouldn't be the woman I am without it. But as far as being a parent and how it goes down in my house, discipline is definitely a factor, but I have yet to send her to get it out of a tree on her own. Although, just the fear component of that might make it an interesting day. Be like, you know what? I'm done playing with you. I'm done talking to you. Go get a switch off the tree. The look on her face
Oh,
would probably be mortified.
yeah. She's
Like,
probably like, what in the
what
world?
has gotten into my mother? So, I'm a big proponent of making sure, yes, I'll be the first to tell you, I will get with my child. The fear of God should be in her about me. But at the same time, just because it's the things that our parents and grandparents did does not mean that we have to continue to perpetuate those through our generations. We got to make our own choices on what's best for us as parents. So I think I get from you, Adolphus, that you're somewhat of the same. Like, yeah, I had it, but it's not
Yeah,
for me. But
yeah. I definitely am like that, and I mean, being from Mississippi like that, that's like was definitely a part of our culture. Out of all the
definitely.
places that I've been, definitely the switches, the extension cords, all that. Luckily,
Yes, everything could be a weapon,
yeah,
right? And it's funny because
everything.
my dad's from Jackson, Mississippi, so I've spent plenty of summers in Mississippi, and of course, we grew up in Jacksonville. So I don't know if it's a Southern thing or I just don't know, man. Like brooms, shoes, hangers, electric
Yeah.
cords. They were all for the taking. If they were in reach by whomever was getting ready to get us, then it was fair game. And the biggest mistake you could ever do was reach up and grab it. Because then, a
Oh
phone
yeah.
call was going out telling everybody, "Oh, did you know she tried to fight me back?" Just so,
And you knew you weren't going to escape from that. So
yeah, you weren't going to survive that. So it was a grin and bear it type of thing. But, yeah, I'd have to say, as far as the switches go, that's a no for me, man. Or what's
it's,
Randy say on American Idol? That's a no for me,
that's
dog.
a no for me, dog. Yeah, definitely. I remember one time, like when I was real young, my mom got in the way of my great grandmother trying to whoop me. So she sacrificed that whooping for me.
Oof,
But and I don't know
a
why she
mama's
did it.
love.
A mama's love for real. It's something that I mean I could sit back and kind of joke about it now because I think it's funny, but I mean it is a pretty traumatic experience. Like overall, I mean when you're a kid, and especially like some of my bad cousins that were
Hmm.
consistently getting whooped. I don't know how they were able to
Bear it,
deal with it.
right?
Yes, so it's something that I think nowadays there's so many different things and so many different ways, so many different things to take away from kids that some of that stuff's a little old fashioned. I mean, I think the worst I've got is a wooden spoon.
Hmm.
And that, yeah, it
I
wasn't that bad.
actually, no, I actually, my dad, he had created something called Mr. Paddle. It was a paddle. It was a real paddle. So I've had worse, but I will say when you brought up cousins, that triggers a memory because I can remember like my great uncle Gene and my aunt having us and the cousins. We did something somehow, something somebody breaks one thing, everybody is responsible for whatever item is broke. So all you get your butt beat, right? And I can
Mm.
remember having some Levi jeans, right? I had to be like 6 or 7 maybe. And I had some Levi jeans on. And I remember preparing for the butt whooping by going to the bathroom and padding up with all the tissue that was on the roll and wrapping it around myself as I
Oh yeah.
prepared for the torture. And I guess my aunt went in the bathroom afterwards and she was like, "Where's all the toilet tissue at?" And they discovered my secret. And I think they were so amused by my choice of how I was going to protect myself from it. I didn't get a whooping that day out of all the cousins, but then my cousins and I fought because everybody else got a whooping and I didn't. Because they
Wow.
laughed at it, right? It was like,
Yeah.
did you really just spend a whole toilet tissue roll around your butt to avoid? Hey,
Hey, that's
any
smart though.
by
That's
any sacrifice, I was gonna avoid this whooping. So I mean, I'm sure the listeners out there, if they have old school grandparents and aunts, they can attest to having had some situations go down. Not some situations go
some
down, right?
situations go down. Yes,
Yeah, some
ma'am.
situations. I was speaking in tongues before I knew what it was at church. That's how
Oh
serious
yeah.
my situations were.
It was something serious back in those days. I mean, like I said, oh man, I remember my one cousin. He would just constantly get whoopings. I was like, man, you got to straighten up, cause like, what's going on here,
You're
man? Cause
having the scared straight talks with a cousin back in the day,
yeah, like
right?
I'm like, hey man, you need to get it together, cause it's like you don't want to laugh, but you're kind of scared, and I'm just like, bruh, cuz, come on, man, just do better. Don't get in so much trouble. So definitely, ooh, when I
Yeah.
think about it, I kind of cringe in a sense. Like I said, I was never the extension cord or any of that wild stuff. I think the worst I had was the wooden spoon, but I did used to get a lot of whoopings. But I'm so glad.
What were
And
you
when
getting whoopings for, Adolphus?
like
What
everything,
was
like
the
I remember
top
when I was
three?
5. I remember I was 5 and I had jumped the fence to go play basketball. And my dad and grandma caught me coming over the fence and they double team whooped me.
Mm.
Like I'm talking about 2 belts, one
Oh
chop.
my goodness.
And I was over there getting pummeled. And then my great grandmother, my May on that side, came and broke that up. My mom got me, she only whooped me, well, twice. But the one time I was letting my friends borrow my clothes, trying to fit in. I think I was
Mm.
like maybe 9 or 10.
Yeah, them was the days.
Yep, and I used to let my friends. I used to have like Nike track suits and stuff, and I just let them borrow them, wouldn't care. And yeah, she whooped me real good. I'm talking about like chased me all around the room. Then got mad. She threw like a helmet at me. Like she was wilding. And
Yeah.
I think it was effective because, like I said, I didn't get very many whippings from her. Whereas with my dad, I got whippings all the time. But that one whooping stood out. So those are my top two. With my dad, it's all of them were terrible. So it just is what it is. But what
Yeah.
about yourself? What are some of your? I'm sure you probably
Man,
barely got
look,
any, but
no. So when I think about it in retrospect, I'm like, what I was doing really wasn't that bad. I think that my parents were just trying to make sure I stayed on the straight and narrow, right? But we used to
mm-hmm.
get beat down for everything, I feel like. And the multiple beatings from like friends of friends, you'd be like, dang, I didn't even do anything that bad.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I can remember this one whooping I got, and I told my mom, I was like, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. And she was just like, well, Miss Corbin, her friend, told her that it had happened. And I was like, but it wasn't me. And so anyway, she whooped me. She proceeded to whoop me. And then like an hour later, it came out that of course it wasn't me. And I can remember my dad being like, you get out of jail free whooping pass, right? Like next time you got
What
a
in the
whooping, you
world?
get a free pass. Real talk. I'm telling you, I cannot make this up. And
Oh
I was
my
like,
goodness.
here I am. I'm still doing that breathing. That's like, like I'm just getting over the whooping. And he's like, I can get out of free whipping pass, right? So a few weeks or something, maybe a month go by, and I think I didn't load the dishwasher or something. Something happened with the kitchen on my chores. He's like, I'm gonna whoop you. And I was just like, can I use my free get out of whooping pass? And when I went to use it, he said to me, he said, nah, I'm sure I done let you off the hook enough already a couple of times. He's like, nope, you gonna get this whooping. I'm like, what was the point of giving me a free whooping pass and I didn't even get to
Yeah.
use it? It was
Oh my
crazy.
goodness.
It was crazy. Another time my mom whooped me because I used to play the violin, little known fact. I know. But
Mm.
I used to play the violin and I wasn't really feeling this violin practicing. I think I wanted to go play, ride a bike, something like that. But I remember my mom, she was really that wooden spoon. I know that very well, Adolphus. I know it very well.
Oh,
And I love my mother. So if she's listening to this, mom, you are a real part of the reason I am who I am today. So even whoopings earned or unearned, I'm appreciative for who they groomed me into being. But man, she tore my butt up about not practicing that violin. And I'm telling you now,
wow.
string music has never been the same since. That's all
Mm.
I have to tell you.
Oh my goodness.
So I've had my fair shares.
Oh yeah, you've definitely earned your stripes, as they say. No pun intended. Because wow.
I need
Uh,
my round of applause entry right
And you
there.
know
I
what?
agree.
Somebody owes you some ice cream too for the get out of whooping free pass should equate into a free bowl of ice cream
I
because you
know. I just
definitely
want to know, did anybody else ever have a situation like that where their parents gave them like an I owe you whooping pass? I feel like that should be in a comedy series in its own set, right? I feel like I should sell that story to Kevin Hart and say, bruh, you know what I'm saying? I
oh
can't
yeah.
make this up. Here you go. This is something I know you can play act this out. So, but it was real. It was real. So that's my whooping story, you know. And isn't it funny? We don't even
Wow.
call it. We don't call it like I remember. I feel like my bark is more than my bite with my child, if that makes sense. I probably
Mm-hmm.
do more verbal, like I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Don't make me have to get
Mm-hmm.
with you. But my parents, their bite was just as bad as their bark. We got both.
Oh yeah. And I think just watching my mom, like I said, I forgot why I got my first one. She told me the story. It had something to do with my older cousin did something and got me to like lie about something.
Oh
Oh, he got
my.
me to lie about not doing my homework because they couldn't go out to play until I finished my homework. And
Mm.
so he had got me to lie about that, and then we both got whippings.
Man.
And so it was like with her, I didn't get them very often. Like I said, I think I only had two. She does have this like snarl look on her face that like hey, I'm gonna get you. But
One place I never did get a whooping though is in church. My mom and my grandma had a look that could kill from any pew, on any stand, in any Sunday, on any Bible study, on any revival. One look from them, and I already knew I was going to meet Jesus. Okay,
oh yeah.
I didn't even want none of that. So man, those were kind of the good days though. I kind of miss, now they don't even make those type of purses that my mom used to threaten us with in church. The ones that have the little strap that you can unstrap and take your child
Oh
to the
yeah.
belt with. You
Oh
remember those?
yes, I do.
Those are very effective back in the day. Now all these kids crying in church. I'm like, somebody need a strapless purse up in here.
Oh yeah, they certainly do. So oh man.
Yes, so
I'm
it could
gonna
change.
have
It could
some
change some
nightmares.
lives.
It sure can. I'm gonna
The
definitely
church
be having
service would
some.
go a whole new way.
It sure would. I honestly can say I don't think I've ever received a whooping in church either.
No,
Yep,
church, no.
I
I,
knew how to act in church. So now there was one time I did get I was laughing. Then I was a teenager, but I went to a church and it was just it later came to found out like they had, was like doing a lot of fraud and there was a lot of like just weird stuff
mm.
going on. And I remember like every Sunday, and we hear this, it's cliche, but every Sunday, this same woman will run around this track and on cue, like every time. And like one Sunday, I got caught laughing. And, I did get a
Mocking the
stern.
Lord.
Yes, I got a stern talking to her about that. And I was like, you know what? But usually I just kind of just played it cool. And I kind of knew how to act in
No.
public. It's just, I was a little slick. So
I mean, I
Barely
had
ever.
got a couple of attitudes. You know, there were two places I knew how to definitely act: church and the store, right? And in the
Mhm.
store, one of my mom's biggest thing was, if you hit me with this cart on the back of my foot, I know something, right?
Oh yes.
And in church, if I embarrassed her, like, it was, and it's funny because I still use the saying, act like your mama loves you when we step outside this house. You know what I mean? And it's just funny
Mm.
that you can kind of like embed that in your whole life. And you're like, oh my God, I sound like my mother. But it's true. Like, I get it now. Like, I want you to act like somebody at home loves you, or that you're going to have some repercussions. But the other thing that became really good, my mom was real discreet at, was the pinch. Not the pinch, the pinch. You know that? Where
Oh.
they grab you just enough to make you like, I mean, that thing, it's very, very quiet. It's very, you can hide that pinch very easily, right? She would get
Mm-hmm.
you like by the under of your arm. And when I tell you, she'd pinch it just a little bit. And look, my toes would even straighten out. Like, not even just my, whatever was going on, I forgot whatever I was doing. And I'd be like, God dang, I don't even know what just happened. But I saw the light, and I want to just come back and behave, and whatever is going on, I don't want to ever do that again. So I didn't have but one or two times that I had to get pinched like that by somebody. But
Oh.
I take, I don't know, if you put the pinch against the switch, I'm torn between the two, Adolphus.
Yeah,
Those
I'd
are
probably take
both
the switch
hurt.
over the pinch because the pinch is
I
ugh.
know. I'm telling you, isn't it amazing when you think about the switch by itself, like how it hurt, but then you put it up against something else and you're like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, definitely. And the pinch is one thing that was just. I think I got one time and never again. Like
Yeah.
never again. And my father even talks about that because my grandmother, she used to do it to her students back in the day. This is just how you know times have
Mm.
changed in like the schooling system because her and this her best friend Mrs. Mack, they were known
Oh
pinch,
no.
twist, paddle, and ruler you to death. And I was like, man, I'm so glad she didn't do any of this stuff at home because I
Did
would have been.
you ever go to a private school, Adolphus?
Nah, I went to a public school.
Okay, so in elementary school, I went to a private school. I went to a Christian private school where paddling and things like that were acceptable. And I don't know if we can get in trouble for saying names, but I'll never forget Mr. Stallworth. It was the one time, I don't know, you remember the wagon trail game on the computer? I was obsessed with that wagon trail game. Do
I
you
think I
remember
do.
that? It was really
Yes, yes.
fun, right? And I was playing
Mm-hmm.
it, and I guess we were supposed to be getting back to our desks. And I was still a newer student to the private school thing. It was like third grade for me. Most of the kids had been going there since kindergarten. And I was up on that wagon trail game. And I think Mr. Stallworth had announced two or three times, go back to your seat so we can begin our next lessons and blah, blah, blah. And I was still on the wagon trail. Oregon Trail is what it was called. Oregon Trail. And he had that
Ooh.
that ruler where you didn't have to be up on me for me to get that ruler, but the ruler could reach me from where you were. And
Ooh.
he just hit me one time on my behind. I was on the computer standing up because we had like a corner computer area.
Mm-hmm.
And I one hit. It was a one hit wonder, literally. I don't know if I was more embarrassed because it happened in front of the class or the fact that it had happened, but I was shocked either way. And I can just remember, I remember that moment. I remember the blue uniform dress and the white shirt that I had on with the Metropolitan emblazed logo on it. And I can remember just wanting to just fall apart, having to go to my desk after that hit because I think it was the hit heard over the classroom. It was
Oh
one
wow.
time he just hit me once, and that was that, and that was norm. And I came home, and I remember telling my mom, and she was like, "Good. Next time the teacher tell you to go sit down." I was like, "Where is my love?" Oh my goodness. So
Oh my
if you've never
goodness.
went to a private school, then you've never had that, of course. But I'm telling
The,
you, it's crazy.
the worst I've had. I mean, I have been paddled, and I know it's one of those situations where you they call, and I don't know if my grandma or my dad, one of them two snakes authorized it, and I remember like everybody that got in trouble was in there with you, so you're trying your
Oh
best not to
no.
cry, and it's like they had this big, thick wooden paddle. It was just pow, and I remember I was like, oh, I was trying to clench my cheeks I was starting to tear up, but I had to get three of them. I was like, please just don't cry in this place. And I remember as soon as it was over, I went to the bathroom and I just started crying. That was some intense pain.
I know. Isn't it amazing how you can withhold the tears when you need to? But
Mm-hmm.
see, at school, I could do that. But with my mom or with other people, I let them tears flow because I needed you to know I'm feeling this pain. Please don't do it again.
Yeah,
Just
please don't ever do that
let
again.
me live. So,
Definitely.
and I don't know, the clenching of the cheeks, I tried that a couple times. I think it hurt worse when you clench. That should be a
Yeah.
poll. Do
Yeah,
whippings hurt more with clenched cheeks or unclenched?
that sure should because that was probably a terrible decision that I made. But anyway, I know we definitely wanted to go further with the show, but I'm gonna go ahead and just cut it off here because I think this is a magnificent thing that we got going on. So I definitely am gonna just cut here. I'll send you the link.
Awesome.
Tell me what you think about it. I thought it was great, honestly. So I definitely appreciate you for coming on. We'll have to sit down and discuss some different things. I just like, if you're cool with the name of it, different things like that. But
Absolutely.
yeah,
I
I'll
told you I'm
definitely.
flexible.
Oh yeah, definitely. So
But you
thank you
caught me
very
off
much.
guard with this, you had this smooth name coming on here. I wasn't ready.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
now to
that's
just
my
jump in the
poet name.
water, just,
Yes.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
So
my
I
little
was going to
poet
take it
name.
back to the day like 1992, like Skittles, Skit,
Definitely. But all right, I definitely appreciate you. I will send you this in the next 15 minutes.
All right.
All
Thank
right, and thank
you.
you. All right,
All right.
bye.
Bye.